My girlfriend kissed another guy right in front of me at a party, just for a dare. So, I gave her a taste of her own humiliation. Hi everyone. My name is Ethan. I am 24. What I am about to tell you happened months ago, but it still sits behind my ribs like a stone. I did not plan on sharing any of it. Then I realized that keeping it to myself was like carrying water in my hands. It kept spilling into everything I did. Maybe telling it here will finally let it run out. I met Lily during our second year. I studied computer science. She was in communications. Our buildings shared a courtyard with a stubborn oak tree that dropped acorns on people who dared sit under it. She laughed the first time one hit my shoulder. Not a mean laugh. More like life was a prank and she was in on the punchline. I remember thinking that she sounded like summer. We started small, passing hellos in the hallway, a borrowed charger, a shared table in the cafeteria when every other chair was full. She talked with her hands, and I listened with my whole body. I liked solving problems on a screen. She liked solving a room. She could walk into a crowd and rearrange its mood like furniture. I was the opposite. I liked the plans and the quiet. She liked noise and surprise. The strange thing was that together it worked. At least at first. When Lily dated, she did not date a person. She dated a community. She had friends who called each other by nicknames that made no sense to anyone else. There was Emma, the birthday girl in this story, who always had 1,000 photos to post and 1,000 more to delete. There was Blake, who believed volume could substitute for charm. There was Kara, who placed a hand on your arm when she spoke and made you feel like she kept your secrets. There was Mateo, who was thoughtful in private and ruthless in public because he wanted to look cool for the others. There were more, but you get the idea. A small universe with its own gravity. In the beginning, Lily tried to tuck me inside that universe. Come with me, she said. It will be chill. She used that word a lot. Chill. The way some people use trust me. Newsflash. Anytime a night starts with it will be chill. It is not going to be chill. The first party I attended with her was at a house that had seen too many stories. You could feel them in the carpet. Music shook the walls like a heartbeat on a monitor. The kitchen smelled like a mix of pizza, perfume, and something sweet and dangerous. People I did not know shouted my name as if they did. Lily held my hand like it was a passport, and she was the only one who could translate. She introduced me to everyone at a speed that made names slide off my mind. I smiled. I nodded. I laughed at jokes I did not hear. They played truth or dare. Of course they did. It was the group's religion. Harmless at first. Tell us your worst kiss. Do a silly dance. Reveal your guilty song. Then the dares started to drink. Drink again. Take a shot if you refuse. Lose. Drink. Win. Drink. The game turned into a storm. Lily was so bright in that storm that I could barely look at her. At one point, she took 5 shots in the span of a few minutes. I felt fear press against my throat. I told her that it was okay to stop. She smiled and said she was fine. She was not. She leaned on me on the walk home and thanked me the next morning for carrying her through a door she could not unlock. I thought that would be our turning point. I was wrong. The next weekend, she said the same 2 words. Come on, chill. I learned their group rhythm. They would pick a house. The volume would rise with the number of empty bottles. The jokes would get sharper. Everyone would pretend no one bled. If you did not laugh, you became the joke. I watched Lily try to keep her place on that moving carousel. If she slowed down, somebody would tease her for being boring now that she had a boyfriend. If she drank less, somebody would call her mom Lily. If she left early, somebody would tell her the party had been epic after she was gone. I could see the sting on her face before she hit it. She cared. She cared more than she wanted to admit. We had a quiet night once. Just us, snacks, and a bad movie that turned good because we kept pausing to make up better lines for the characters. I told her then that I did not like how those parties treated her. I did not say her friends. I said those parties. I thought the problem was the stage, not the actors. She sighed and said they had been there for her for years. They just had a different way of showing love. I kept my mouth shut. I told myself that love sometimes asks you to sit with your discomfort. The truth is that love sometimes asks you to stand up. The night everything broke started like any other. Emma's birthday. She had been planning it for weeks. She kept changing the theme. Glow, then retro, then all white, then finally chaos, which was honesty dressed as a theme. Lily begged me to go. She placed her hands on my cheeks and promised a quiet night. Music. Some cake, a toast, nothing crazy. I heard the old phrase and ignored the lesson I had already learned. I went. As soon as we entered, the living room swallowed us. 100 songs played at once. Every time Lily turned, someone called her name and pulled her into a hug and pressed a drink into her hand. I hugged the wall, and the wall hugged me back. Lily kept bouncing in and out of my orbit like a satellite with a short attention span. She would check in, and then she would spin out again. Every time she left, I felt the space between us grow colder. The game started past midnight. 10 people formed a circle around an empty bottle that had moved more mouths that evening than some people would in a month. At first, it was all laughs. Confess your celebrity crush, show the last photo in your camera roll, whisper a secret to the person on your left. Then the dares sharpened. Drink if you refuse to answer. Drink if the answer feels too close to the bone. Remove an item of clothing. Call someone you had a crush on and leave a ridiculous voicemail. Kiss someone on the cheek. The group got louder with each small surrender. I felt the same dread I used to feel before bad weather rolled in when I lived near the coast as a kid. The color of the light changes right before a storm. Blake decided to point at me. He had that grin that says he is about to share a joke and wants you to help him carry it. He asked why I looked so serious. He told me to loosen up. The circle laughed, and he waited for me to offer myself up as tribute. I did not. I kept my mouth closed like a fist. The laughter stretched thin and then snapped. The bottle spun again. The final dare arrived, dressed like a grand finale. Emma declared that the bravest dare of the night would belong to Lily. She smiled like a magician before pulling a rabbit from a hat. The dare was simple. Kiss a random guy right here, right now. Everyone cheered. Everyone stared at us both. The room tilted. Lily shook her head. She said she was dating me. She looked at me and then back at them. She tried to hold the line and also keep the crowd. The group pushed. It is just a game. No big deal. Ethan will understand. Right, Ethan. They passed my name around like a ball. I caught it and placed it on the ground. If you care about us, do not do this, I said. The room paused. I could feel Lily deciding who she was. She blinked. She chose them. She walked to a guy whose name I still do not know and pulled him toward her like the camera needed a close-up. Their kiss lasted long enough for people to take out their phones and record. It lasted long enough for me to count the beats in my chest. It lasted long enough to turn me from a person into a prop. When it was over, the laughter came like a wave. I heard a girl say that she had never seen a heartbreak happen in slow motion. I heard someone else pretend to host a fake interview where I played the part of the fool. I stood. The ground did not feel solid. Lily tried to laugh it off. She said it was a joke. She told me not to be dramatic. And then something inside me burned through. I looked at her, and I looked at the circle. I said that she had just turned herself into their entertainment. I said that they did not love her. They consumed her. I said that I was done participating. The room held its breath. She looked small for a second, then angry, then embarrassed, then defiant. Blake stepped forward to rescue the mood with volume. I asked him a question, not as a weapon, but because I had heard him speak on another night when he thought no one was listening. Are you loud to drown out the silence that waits for you when you go home? Or are you loud because you think people will not like you if you are quiet? He lunged. I moved. He fell into a chair. The bottle rolled away like it was tired of the game, too. I left. The night air smelled like wet concrete and cigarettes. My chest hurt the way muscles ache the day after you carry something heavy. I heard my name behind me. Lily ran after me with mascara tears and 1,000 words that felt like the same ones. Sorry. She said it was just a dare. She said it meant nothing. She reached for my hand like it was still hers. I pulled it back. I told her I had a dare for her. Find a spine. Then I turned and walked. People think heartbreak is loud. Sometimes it is silent. I sat in my apartment and listened to the refrigerator hum. I did not cry. I did not yell. I just sat. I replayed the entire night in my head until the scenes blurred. At some point, I fell asleep and dreamed that I was reading a book where the pages kept sticking together. I woke up and realized I did not want to read that story anymore. News of the kiss traveled fast. The video slid through group chats like smoke under a door. By Monday morning, people on campus knew a version of what happened. My phone lit up with messages from numbers I had never saved. Some were kind. Some were cruel. Some were curious. Lily did not message me that day. She did on the next one. Then the day after. Long paragraphs that tried to explain short choices. She said she wanted to talk. She said she had messed up. She said she could fix it. I did not answer. If respect is a bridge, some breaks cannot be repaired with rope and good intentions. For a week, I kept my head down. I went to class. I coded. I slept. I ate cereal for dinner because it did not require decisions. Then something happened that shifted the story from pain to plan. I went to the library to return a book and saw Kara at a table near the window. She waved me over. I considered ignoring it, then sat down because a part of me wanted to hear how the group justified what they did. She told me they were worried about Lily. She said Lily had not been herself. She said the video would blow over if I helped calm things down. Calm things down. The words felt like being told to mop a floor while the pipes were still bursting. I asked Kara a direct question. Did you feel good laughing while your friend disrespected the one person in the room who would have done anything for her? Kara stared out the window for a long moment. Then something strange happened. She said no. She said she did not feel good. She said she had followed the crowd because that is easier than standing up in front of it. Then she told me something else. The group had a standing plan to meet again next Friday at a new place. Bigger house, more people. Someone wanted to stream parts of it to make it go viral. She rolled her eyes when she said that word. Viral. On the walk home, I kept thinking about the phrase, give her the humiliation of her life. It sounds mean when you say it out loud. At that point, I did not want blood. I wanted clarity. I wanted a mirror that did not lie. So I made a plan for a different kind of humiliation. Not name-calling, not revenge for sport. A consequence that looks like the truth. I texted Emma. I asked if I could bring a party game to the next gathering. She said, of course, as long as it was fun. I told her it would be the most fun they had all semester. That part was honest. Then I sent 3 messages to 3 people who were already halfway out of that social orbit. Kara, Mateo, and a guy named Ryan who drifted between groups and never stayed long enough to be claimed by any of them. I asked them for help. Specifically, I asked them for screenshots, not of private things. I would not cross that line. I asked for messages from their group chat where they mocked one another the way they had mocked me, messages that everyone already screenshotted and passed around anyway. I wanted the audience to see the way the group fed on itself. I did not want commentary. I wanted a projector and the group's own words. On Friday, the new house felt like a theater disguised as a living room. The host, a senior named Ava, had a projector mounted on the ceiling. Someone had already connected it for a slideshow of Emma through the years. Baby photos, braces, first car. I asked if we could use the projector for a quick game before the cake. Ava shrugged. Yes. The game, I announced, was called Filter Off. I said it had 2 rules. Rule 1. Everything we said had to be true. Rule 2. No drinking penalties. You could say no, but the screen would speak if you did. People cheered because chaos is fun as long as it does not choose you. I had divided the game into rounds. Round 1 was called Things We Say Behind Your Back. I explained that the screen would show a sentence spoken in a group chat by someone in the circle, with names blurred. The person who recognized their own words would have the chance to step forward and own them, and if they chose not to, the next slide would show the name anyway. The room buzzed with nervous laughter. Emma clapped like we were at a roast. It will be fun, she said. I agreed. The first slide appeared. It read that Lily was becoming boring since dating Ethan, and that maybe if she drank more, she would be fun again. Silence. A handful of people shifted in their seats. I watched Lily read the sentence. Her cheeks went pink. Then the second slide appeared. It showed the same sentence with the name, Mateo. He stood up and walked into the middle like someone walking to the front of class. He said that he had written it months ago, and that it was cruel. He looked at Lily and said he was sorry. The room exhaled. A few people clapped. Lily nodded without speaking. The next slide read that Ethan had the face of a funeral, and that the group should bring a clown nose for him next time. Then the name, Blake. He grinned and tried to make a joke about owning it. The laugh died halfway up his throat. The next slide was a photo of Lily posted by Emma with a caption that said, Mom, Lily arrived. Hide the tequila. The name was already visible. Emma. She laughed and said it was an inside joke. The screen kept going. A comment from Kara calling another girl, try hard. A comment from Ryan, rolling his eyes at the way the group pretended kindness while keeping score. A comment from Emma, wondering aloud whether Lily would choose the group, or me, if forced to. The room got very very quiet. Then came round 2. Round 2 was called Dares We Never Do. I explained that the screen would show dares that no one in the group had ever asked, because they required courage. I said each dare would be offered once, and if refused, the next slide would become a dare of my own. People booed theatrically. They wanted the stakes. Dare 1 was for Blake. I dared him to apologize for every time he used volume to bully a room. He smirked and asked if that was really a dare. I said yes. He refused. The next slide appeared. It was a short compilation of videos, taken from public stories that he had posted himself, of Blake mocking strangers on campus, shoved together like an unflattering highlight reel. The room went cold. He reached for the remote, and I held it away. You posted these, I said. You wanted an audience. Here it is. Dare 2 was for Emma. I dared her to read out loud the caption she had written about Lily the night of the kiss, and to explain why she wrote it if she loved her friend. She refused. The next slide showed her caption on a mirrored screen that someone else had captured that night. It said that drama makes great content, and that Lily had always been perfect for it. Emma covered her face with her hands. Dare 3 was for Lily. I dared her to choose one, either to stand and say to the room that what she did at the last party was disrespectful, and that no one should be pressured to violate their partner in the name of a game, or to say that she believed the group was right and that I was overreacting. No in between. She looked at me. She looked at the screen. She looked at her friends. She said nothing. The next slide appeared. It was a photo of us on a bench under the oak tree, taken by Kara months before. Over the photo, I had placed text in plain white letters. I wrote that respect is a choice you make when no one is looking, and also when everyone is. Then the video from the last party began without sound. The kiss. The laughter. The fake microphone. The part where I left. The part where she followed. And I did not stop. The projector washed the room in light and proof. When the video ended, no one moved. Then someone clapped. Not loud. A single clap. Then a few more. Then a hush again because clapping felt wrong. Lily stood. She finally spoke. Her voice shook. She said the thing she should have said that night. She said that she was wrong. She said that she had hurt me. She said that she had hurt herself by trying to keep a place in a group that celebrated her worst impulses. She apologized to me. She apologized to the room. She said she was done with the game. She sat. No one cheered. For once, they did not turn honesty into content. They just let it sit there. I took a breath. I did not know I had been holding for months. I told them that I did not come to destroy anyone. I came to the end of a pattern. I said that if anyone still wanted to play truth or dare, they could, but I would not do it with them. I set the remote on the table and left. People later said I humiliated Lily. Maybe that is true. To me, it felt like I held up a mirror. A mirror can be the kindest or the cruelest thing you can offer, depending on the day. I did not contact Lily after that. She texted me that night. She asked to talk. She said she wanted to understand how to rebuild. I told her that forgiveness is not the same as reunion. I wished her well. That was the last message. The fallout rippled. Emma took a break from posting for 2 weeks, which for her was like a small eternity. Blake stopped showing up at parties for a while and then returned with less swagger and more silence. Mateo reached out to me and said he had started seeing a counselor because the night made him realize he did not like who he became in groups. Kara and I talked sometimes on the walk between classes. She thanked me for not blasting the screenshots everywhere for strangers to devour. She said the game had forced her to choose a direction. She wanted out of circles that require you to be cruel to stay in. As for me, I felt something I had not felt since we started all this. I felt light. Not happy right away. Not healed instantly. But light. I could sit at my computer and focus again. I could hear my own thoughts without the echo of a crowd. I went for runs in the morning before class and watched the sky switch colors. I called my brother more. I started cooking actual meals and not just cereal. I remembered what my life felt like when it belonged to me. A month later, the Student Activities Board hosted an open mic night. A friend asked if I would tell a story. I said maybe. I showed up with no plan and a pocket full of nerves. When the host called my name, I walked on stage and told the story you just heard, without names, without labels, only the lesson. I told them that love without respect is a costume. I told them that a crowd will always ask for more than you should give. I told them that saying no is not rude when the question itself is disrespectful. When I finished, The room was quiet in the best way, the way rooms get when people are thinking. Then they clapped. I stepped off the stage and felt something click into place inside me. I still see Lily sometimes. The campus is not that big. We do not speak. Once we passed each other under the oak tree. An acorn landed between us and rolled to a stop. She smiled a small, sad smile. I nodded. That was it, a moment that admitted a whole history without letting it move back in. If you are listening and you are stuck in a place where you feel like you must give pieces of yourself to keep the room happy, hear me. There is another room. There are other people. There is a quieter night that will fill you up instead of emptying you. And if anyone tells you it was just a joke, remember that jokes have edges, and the best ones do not cut the people you say you love. The last thing I will say is this. The title of this story says that I gave her the humiliation of her life. That is the kind of line that gets clicks. But the truth is softer and stronger. I gave her the truth of her life, and by doing that, I finally gave myself mine. I did not save the relationship. I saved the part of me that understands what love is worth. Respect. Privacy. Choosing each other when it is not convenient. Choosing yourself when the other person will not. That night at the second party, when the projector went dark, and people did not know whether to look at the floor or at each other, I walked outside, and the air felt new. I stood on the porch and listened to music thump through the walls, and felt nothing but relief that I was on the other side of it. A girl I did not know stepped out to take a phone call. She hung up and smiled at me, and said that the game was wild. I told her that it was simple. It was just a mirror. She nodded like she understood. She said good night. I said good night. I went home to a quiet apartment and slept without dreams. So that is my story. If it finds you on a night when you feel small, let it be a door. Walk through it. Choose people who choose you when there is no one watching and no audience to impress. Choose rooms where the loudest thing is laughter that does not need victims. Choose games that you can stop without punishment. Choose the kind of love that would never ask you to prove it by hurting someone else. And if the world tries to turn your heartbreak into content, turn on a different light. Let a truth play on the projector instead. Then leave. Take your peace with you. It belongs to you.